Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for taking the time off to join this webinar. We will now begin. I am June, the Marketing Manager at Adventus, and for the benefit of those who are unfamiliar with us, I'll do a short introduction on Adventus. Before I begin, if you hover your mouse to the bottom of the screen, you will see a Q&A button. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, just type your questions there and we will address them later at the end of the webinar. Okay. So about Adventus, we are an ICT solutions and services company that provides a wide range of products and services. We have more than 1,000 contractual customers and cater to a lot of different requirements that our customers may have. We have close to 400 employees, and we are serving our customers globally on a 24/7 basis. We have offices around the world to provide our customers with on-site IT support, namely these 14 countries and these 22 cities. Okay. These are our awards and certifications. Adventus is very big on service excellence. That is why we ensure that we are awarded the Singapore Quality Class Star for service excellence. We have been named the best IT services provider by Singapore Business Review. This award, we have been winning this for around 6 years in a row from 2018 to 2023. But in fact, this year, we just won this award again. So it's 7 years in a row now. And to ensure that what we are doing is of world-class standards, we have all these different ISO certifications as well. And lastly, we've been recognized as a great place to work and are also in the top 10 HR Excellence Award for several years. So over here at Adventus, we believe that happy employees make happy customers. That's why we invest a lot in our employees to make sure that they are working happily in our company and hence serving our customers better. These are our technology partners. Basically, we have a very close working relationship with most of the big players in the market. And in today's session, we have partnered with Tenable to give you an insight on how Tenable's vulnerability management can address the challenges hindering effective risk reduction practices. These are our clients. We serve a multitude of customers from SMEs to the big enterprise customers. Just to name some, we have Toyota, where we provide end user support, supporting 800 computer users in Toyota. We manage the firewall for LBBW in Singapore, China, and Korea. We manage the network and server for Shiseido. This covers around 100 servers and enterprise network for around 400 users. For KPMG, we do end user devices patch management for around 3,500 computers. And at Adventus today, we have 9 very strong business pillars. First is end user support services, followed by cloud and on-premises infrastructure services, cybersecurity services, which is the business pillar behind this webinar. Then there's IP and cloud telephony services, telco, managed print services, CCTV and door access services, application software services, and lastly, structured cabling. Here's a breakdown of the services included in end-user support services. So we provide remote support, on-site support, and also staff augmentation, where we place a headcount into our customer's environment. For cloud and on-premises infra services, we provide services such as infra monitoring, infra maintenance and support, infra upgrade and migration, managed network services, managed backup and disaster recovery services, and even new office setup or relocation. When it comes to cybersecurity, we are CSRO licensed to be a service provider for managed SOC. Alan will touch more on this later. And some services that we provide here will be endpoint protection for end-user devices and servers, patch management, multi-factor authentication, firewall, vulnerability management, which is today's topic, and managed network access control. For IP and cloud telephony, we have our own SPO service provider license. So we provide licenses for on-premises IP phone systems as well as cloud telephony systems, such as Microsoft Teams Direct Routing. Under telco, today we are partnering with Singtel in this area. Then for managed print services, we manage photocopiers and printers, and we have several cloud-based print solutions as well. When we talk about physical security, such as CCTV and door access, you'll need a security service provider license from the Singapore Police Force, and this is our license. So we can provide solutions, consultancy services, and maintenance and support for CCTV and door access systems. In terms of application software services, we currently provide services for ServiceNow and Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM. Lastly, for structured cabling, we have our own in-house cabling team to do the planning and laying of cables. So overall at Adventus, we have over 300 engineers in an extensive suite of ICT domains and disciplines to cater to the different needs that our customers may have. So each of these different divisions comprises of engineers that specialize in the particular field. In today's market, Adventus is strategically and uniquely positioned in the market because we are the only IT vendor that can do all these solutions and services in-house, from your print to CCTV to IP telephony to cloud. We can be your single point of contact in all these areas that we have. So over here, we advocate a cloud-first and secure modern workplace, leveraging on Microsoft's 365 suite of products and services. So firstly, people are moving Office Productivity Suite from on-premises to M365. They are moving video communication to Microsoft Teams and personal storage to OneDrive. We are moving email servers onto Exchange Online, Active Directory to Azure AD, file servers to SharePoint, CRM to Dynamic 365, print server to cloud. We will migrate all the on-premise servers to Azure by spinning up virtual servers and have ZTNA and virtual firewall to protect the servers on Azure. So 7 to 9 are some examples of servers that we move. So they can be domain controller, ERPs, HRMS, and then a bit slow. Okay, then we have, if let's say you want to be super secure, right? You can build Azure virtual desktops. Then these are computers on the cloud, lah, basically. Then we have EMS E5 Cloud Security Monitoring. Then 12 to 23 is mainly the deployment of security solutions around the two platforms to tighten the security. So like endpoint protection, 2FA, patch management, secure web gateway, vulnerability management, today's topic, spam filter, backup and storage, server endpoint protection, to FA for servers. Previously, it's for the PC. Then server backup. And lastly, disaster recovery infrastructure. Okay, so now I hand over to Louis, the solution engineer of Southeast Asia from Tenable, who will go more in depth into Tenable Vulnerability Management. So once again, if you guys have any questions throughout the webinar, just type your questions in the Q&A portion below and we will address them later at the end of the webinar. So Louis, over to you.
Thanks, June. Right, so, yep. So today's topic is actually on how are we actually strengthening the cybersecurity through an effective vulnerability management. Right, so before I'm actually go deeper into this topic, right, so allow me to do some introduction on my company, Tenable. So what does actually Tenable do, right? So right now, we are starting off our business as a vulnerability research company. So right now, we are actually the categories leader in the exposure management. Basically, the number one market leader in vulnerability management. And if you take a look as part of this slide itself, right? So right now we actually cover more than 44,000 customers as a worldwide, and 50% of them are actually a global 2,000 companies, right? So in a yearly basis, we do have 16% of revenue growth. So this is kind of healthy. And yep, we are making sure that our business are profitable so that so our customer will not be worried that, for example, like after they purchase our products, then the company will actually close shop or whatever, right? So don't worry about that. Our company are very healthy. And then the best part about this slide is actually the 90 on the left bottom, the 95% of recurring revenue. What does it actually means to our customer, right? That means our customer is actually happy and satisfied with our products. So that means 95% of our customer continue to renew to use our products, right? That's mean they're really satisfied, really happy with our products, right? So, yep. So then the next thing, at Tenable, right? So our goal since the early days, so we are actually helping the organizations to prevent attack and breaches by shifting from reactive securities. So instead of just like detecting the attacks, so we are actually shifting to a proactive securities that are closing the gaps before they can be exploited by the attackers. So how do we actually do it from the beginning? So we start off the business from Nessus, right? So Nessus is actually a tools that we launched the first versions in 1998, right? So the initial release of Nessus, right, was only capable for checking like around 50 vulnerabilities, right? So fast forward to today, and guess what? So it's still a crucial part of any organization's security toolkits right now. There are still a lot of customers, especially like a pen tester, they are using Nessus in support of penetration testing effort to evaluate the securities of their own system, right? And to test the securities of the software and devices before they actually deploy and after deploy as well. So this is our goal from the beginning. And from a software that just basically discovered 50 vulnerabilities in 1998, and right now with acquisitions and innovations, we are now the market leader. So yep, so just now we discovered that we do have the number one in terms of the vulnerability management market share. So we are the leaders in Forrester vulnerability management. And then yep, a lot of leaders that in different space. But what is important right now is we are still focused on the research, right? So the R&D portion. So we do have like 112 millions in R&D. We spend a lot on it, invest a lot into that. And our data lake later, we will actually touch on it. So how do we actually rely on 1 trillion of data points, right? So basically to give you the frameworks, the vulnerabilities management frameworks, and then we rely on more than 200,000 plugs in right now, detection methodology, because when it comes to vulnerability management, it's all about coverage and accuracy, right? So that is what we actually commitment to our customer. So we promise to them that for those high priorities kind of vulnerabilities, we ensure that the new detection will be come up within 24 hours, right? So there's our commitments today to our customer, right? So, but when it comes to improve the cybersecurity through the vulnerability management, right? So let's take a step back to understand the fundamentals, right? So what are vulnerabilities and what are we trying to solve right now? So it's actually break into two key things. One of it is actually the software vulnerabilities on the left hand side. So a majority of our customer, they do actually aware about this. This means, for example, Microsoft Patch Tuesday, any software in the Zoom applications, in the Google Chrome applications. So it's actually a defect or a bugs, right? That basically will lead to the system compromise. And that's the reason we need to ensure that all of these software versions are up to date, right? But a lot of time, right, most of the customers, I would say that they actually miss out the right portions, which is the configuration vulnerabilities, right? So very simple explanation of this, right, is actually a weaknesses, right, in the configuration that will actually leads to a system compromise. So let's give you an example. Like if you actually configure a server, but you did not disable the default account, right? This is actually one of the configuration vulnerabilities. Or you did not actually enforce the password complexity policy, right? The minimum password length, right? So there is actually leading to a system compromise of. And as Tenable, so from a company perspective, from a platform's vulnerability management perspective, we are trying to help you to resolve the software and the configurations vulnerabilities. And this is what we'll be trying to discuss today, right? So we are actually going through pool questions to to understand the current state of your organization, right? Are we going through that? Yeah. Let me just. Yeah. All right.
Can you
Cool.
see the poll?
Yes.
So just need you guys to answer
Yep.
the question that you see on the screen.
So how frequent, does your organization actually perform vulnerability management? Some organization they will do once a year. Some will just like if there's any high profile kind of vulnerabilities, they will just do ad hoc scanning. And some they do have some company policy in place. They need to run a regular schedule kind of scanning, maybe in a quarterly basis, monthly basis, and even some of them they're just doing nothing at all, right? So we just want to figure out what is the current state of your organization looks like. Yeah.
Okay, I think the polling kind of died down.
Yep, sure.
So I'll end the poll now.
Yep. Let's take a look into the result. Okay, pretty great, I would say. So 45% of the attendees today actually, the organization are running on their ad hoc plus the regular schedule. And some of them, they are just, none at all. And yearly external pen test services only. Right, so let me just explain on why are we actually going through this frequency. We're asking about how frequent you actually perform the vulnerability scanning. So if you take a look, right, so so initially when we talk about the Nessus, and we actually released like 50 plugin to address 200 plus of CVE. So during the point of time, right, like 1998, like only maybe a Windows machines that in place. So addressing like 200 plus of a CVE is fine, right? You're running either ad hoc, either yearly pen test is fine. But imagine right now in 2022, so the number is actually 25,000, right? So of vulnerabilities being disclosed just a single year, right? So there's too many vulnerabilities and too many asset changes in your organization. Imagine right now if you are just running on the yearly pen test. So how do you actually close the gap within a year? How are you actually fixing all of these 25,000 on one single asset? Imagine. So how about 100 of assets? So you need to actually run more frequent, right? So as a general best practices from Tenables, so you need to at least scan twice a week, right? So yep. So yep, if you're actually running ad hoc plus a regular kind of scanning, that is fantastic, I would say. Yep. So let me just move on. Right, and one of the biggest issue facing organizations today is actually lack of visibility of the infrastructures. A lot of times that you must heard this sentence, you can't protect what you can't see, right? So and that's the reason visibility is very important. So without visibilities, right, it actually leads to four main things, four main issues. One of it is actually you're actually causing a false sense of security based on incomplete data. So imagine it's like you have 100 of assets, but you only scan like 20 of them. So yeah, you just feel like, oh, I'm sorting these 20 assets, I'm safe. No, you are wrong, right? Then the second things, right? So if you're having a low visibilities, so yeah, those exploitable vulnerabilities will become available to attackers, means that it could be easily target your organization as well, right? Then the third point is actually you're just spending majority of the time and effort to addressing those low risk issues. That's mean there's not really that you need to fix it immediately. You need to find something that really true risk to your organization. You need to fix it immediately. So the last thing is actually, you will not not able to effectively communicate risk and program maturity. That's mean, yeah, how do you actually improve the program, vulnerability management program? And this is what we actually trying to do today, right? So our missions at Tenables, so is actually helping you to drive the transformations of the security control to address the lack of visibility into the infrastructures. How do we do that? So as the creator of Nessus, as the most widely deployed vulnerability assessment software in the market, we are actually helping you to to gain you the visibility to scan all the assets in your organization, getting visibility with our leading research plugin coverage and accuracy, right? Then, so this is what we actually do. We are number one in the risk-based vulnerability management and cyber exposure, right? So we are actually trying to deliver what we can to helping you to improve your vulnerability management program. So how do we do that? So building on 20 years, at least 20 years right now, we are reaching 25 years of experience in vulnerability management. So how Tenables actually we evolved from a traditional vulnerability management vendors all the way to cyber exposure management, right? So initially in the traditional vulnerability management, so what do we do is actually, yes, you could actually continuous perform the assessment in a regular basis. And we actually do the remediation plan based on CVSS, right? That's been based on the criticality score on criticals, high, medium, and low, right? And we give you the visibility to see everything that in your organization. But what are we actually doing right now? So we're actually moving from traditional vulnerability management to risk-based VM. So we actually talk about the predictions, machine learning algorithms that we use in the next couple of slides. And we're using a risk-based approach to identify which are the threats that means to your organization right now. You need to fix it immediately. Then today, we actually move to cyber exposure. We're more towards on communicate the risk, telling you that what is actually important to you, right? So giving you the benchmarkings to tell you that, oh, how do you actually compare against others, right? We predict what is actually matters and communicate cyber risk to your business across different levels. So technical level, they want to know that what are the vulnerabilities, but when it comes to this C level, they want to know what is the risk that are in the organization, what is the exposure level, right? So let me just stop. Move on. And the cyber exposure life cycle for risk-based vulnerability management, right, is actually contain 5 phases. So if you are using or utilizing any kind of vulnerability assessment, then we're actually just looking into discover and assessment. You run the assessment, you discover the assets, get the report, that's all. But when it comes to a risk-based vulnerability management, right, the cyber exposure management is actually go even further. After we do the assessment, we actually comes to prioritize. We actually tell you that what you need to fix it, what is actually matters to your organization. Then you actually, based on the remediation advice, right, do the guidance, based on the guidance to do the remediations. And the last piece will be the measurements. You actually keep on improving the process. How do we actually identify the gaps, right, in terms of which area that I need to improve, right? So we actually getting you the ability to measure the key metrics to understand that how effectively you are, right, in order to identify and addressing all these issues right now in your organization. So this is the cyber exposure life cycle that we means to your organization, right? And the next thing, we actually moving on to helping you to close your cyber exposure gap with the full visibilities of the converged attack surface, right? So digital transformation is increasing, right? The point of vulnerability for every organizations, right? Creating a cyber exposure gaps that being exploited by the attackers, right? As a defenders. So how do we ensure that I'm safe, right? So the first thing, I need to get the visibility across all the attack surface. We no longer stay in the traditional IT infrastructure right now. So we need to understand that all the attack surface. So in 10 years back, when we talk about attack surface, it's just like your IT infra, your network device, right? Your firewall, your security appliances, all of this, right? But right now, we are actually expanding. The footprint is actually expanding. You need to look into a web application. You need to look into your external attack surface. You need to look, if you're moving to cloud, you need to know your cloud footprint as well. So this is what we call the converged attack surface, right? And basically, when we talk about a breach across the attack surface, so initially, so if you take a look how the attackers actually move around when there's a breach happening, right? So the first thing, as an attacker, we are going to identify the targets. So who are the targets? So trying to using any kind of phishing, any kind of social engineering, any kind of brute forcing, to identify any kind of external asset that being exploited, right, in over the worldwide internet, right? Then the next thing, upon they actually identify your external attack surface, they're going to exploit your identities using different account, right? Brute forcing to log in, right? Or any kind of your employee trying to leak out, configure, and then they leak out the credential or any exploited asset, any open ports, right? Or any kind of a plain text password that contain on the web applications or on the external facing asset. And upon the attacker actually able to access to this asset, they will actually perform the lateral movement that we measure over here. They were actually trying to gain elevated privilege, trying to get any kind of administrative access, and trying to repeat again. So they wouldn't do anything right now because they want to make sure that when you're trying to attack, they will actually access your entire organization. That's why when there's a ransomware attack happening in your network, so why is not happening on a single asset, but actually propagate across the entire networks, right? So yep, so there's what makes sense. They actually move around trying to find the entire loophole. Then they will actually take actions as the final step, right? So what it would do, right? So you actually look for the data, would look for the crown jewel, asking for the ransom, right? So there's how the data breach is going to happen. And to break this, we need to actually have a mechanism in place. So how do we do it, right? So we actually, the first thing, we need to document, we need to get the visibility of the attack surface. We need to understand that the internal and external facing asset and the identities. Who are the account? Which are the user that are able to access of all of these assets? Then the second things, we need to detect on three forms of the risk that used to gain access and move laterally. First thing, as we always mentioned early on, vulnerabilities, software vulnerabilities, the CVE. Second things, there are misconfigurations, right? The configuration vulnerabilities. And the third thing, we actually extend to the access permissions, looking into the permission that you provided as part of the identities, right? Then the third point is actually upon we document it. After that, we understand that what are the form of risk. Then we start into move into prioritization, look into business context, right? So we align on the asset with the identities and we focus on what is actually matters to you, right? So rather than just wait for like 3 months to understand it. So right now with this, right, we're actually able to prioritize that which business or which asset is actually mean to my organization, right? Then move on. We actually need to virtualize it. What is the true exposure? So for example, so if this asset with these identities going to exploit, going to breach, right? So we actually need to know that how the attack path going to assess accordingly. So for example, so it's actually contain an excessive machine permission from this user trying to access to these machines. right? And then the last piece is actually, by understanding the true exposure, we need to put in the remediation approach, right? Excessive permission, if you got in the excessive permission on the user account, what we need to do, enforce the least privilege baseline on that user. So if we actually have an RDP kind of access point, close that. So instead of misconfiguring, we need to apply some benchmark of some best practices into the machines, right? So that is what we do from to approach the security from an attacker perspective, right? So, but prioritization is still remain a challenge. A lot of time that from technical team perspective, yeah, we know that visibility is important, but upon we gather all of this data, right, how do we actually prioritizing it, right? So a different asset in your organization is contain different kind of risk. So for example, a Windows server, when we identify CVE, is actually based on CVSS score. The score is actually 1 to 10. But when it comes to web application, so it's actually based on OAuth top 10, SQL injections or everything, right? It's actually classified by low, medium, high, and criticals, right? So even when it comes to cloud and identity portions, right? So it's actually fail or pass. So how do we actually identify that risk of them actually represent a greater risk? So we need to have some machine learning algorithm in place to normalize the scoring, to tell you that, oh, this Windows server is actually contain a VPR score, a vulnerability priority rating. Later, I will actually go through every single of these algorithm that built by Tenable. VPR score is 9.2, and the asset criticality rating is actually 7 out of 10. 1 to 10 is 7 out of 10. The asset exposure score, very important. What we're actually doing right now, instead of fixing the vulnerabilities, we are helping you to look into the exposure score of the asset, right? So 1 to 1,000, right? So the exposure level, we're trying to normalize the scoring instead of pass or fail. Instead of CVSS score 1 to 10, criticals, criticality low of criticals, right? So we look into the asset exposure score. Every single asset that we discover in the organization, we actually contain an asset exposure score. So how do we do that? So to enable the asset exposure score or to enable these predictions that we talked about in the previous slide, so we've been utilized and building a massive data lake of over 20 trillions of threats, vulnerabilities, and asset data point. So so what are we actually using in our backend is the Snowflake. So if you guys are using Snowflake today, so that will be a really good opportunities that actually directly tap into what you guys having right now. Instead of going through the products, waiting for all of these things to occur, we can give you a direct access to the Snowflakes. So, and you can actually pull in the data out in a raw format, and if that works for you as well, right? So this is what we're doing with the machine learning power predictions. So let's dive deeper into the machine learning algorithms that we talked about in these two slides. Two examples of the output of these machine learning algorithms. So the VPR, vulnerability priority ratings, and asset criticality rating. So what are we doing right now is we take all of this data across different attack surface. We normalize it down to one concrete scoring frameworks where you can just see the most important things, regardless of where are they coming from. So this is really what we talk about the data science. So you start from what we call the asset criticality ratings, which is a 0 to 10 rating that you can put on any individual asset. We put on there automatically from a vulnerability scan perspective. So when you actually run a scan, we actually get from the credential scan and we can know that what are we actually looking at and see all the detail. So, but you have the ability to customize it. Instead of we generate the score automatically for you, you can actually customize the score 0 to 10 to fit into your organization, to fit into your organization critical asset level. Then the next piece is actually the VPR score, the vulnerability priority rating, we'll know. So there is just like CVSS score at 0 to 10 calculations. So VPR's calculation are using our own proprietary intelligence. So it's about 160 different data point from a threat perspective across dozens of threat feeds that we use. We correlate together, and then the VPR is actually takes the greatest weakness of CVSS version 3, so which is a kind of static nature, right? CVSS version 3 comes out with a score, but it's pretty much stay there forever. It's a kind of static. So we technically have the capability to update the vulnerabilities every single day, right? That based on what is actually happening on the threat landscape today. Does that really happen? If there's no, so is a very low percentage that is actually having a VPR score changes day to day. But the point is, so we actually recalculate based on what we've seen on the threat feeds across all of these data points in a daily basis, right? So that's what we are actually doing in the VPR and NCR, right? So right now we got the visibility across all the asset and following on with the machine learning prioritization methodology frameworks that help you to find out the true risk and exposure. But when the business leader actually asks you, they want to know how secure are we? So they don't want a 300 pages of report, right? They don't want like you telling me that this asset or contain 100 of vulnerabilities, how many of them are actually criticals or high severities. They don't want that. What they want to know is actually where is the risk, right? So from Tenable perspective, as a cyber exposure management platform perspective, so we do actually assign an asset exposure score across every single asset in your system. And in the platform, you actually get a 0 to 1,000 risk rating. And 1,000 is being the worst. So think about it as a credit score, and every asset get the calculation. And then we aggregate all of these assets together, right, from the asset exposure score. And we give you an overarching cyber exposure score that basically related to your business, right? So the cool part about this, if you look into the number 0 to 1,000, so if you like it or not, well, what the 700, for example, 750 means to you, right? So we do actually, what are we trying to do is actually contextualize that, giving you a benchmark to set against your peers. So there are about 30 plus of different business entities that you kind of include yourself into. So you can actually benchmark against your peers and benchmark against the Tenable's worldwide database. So now, instead of saying that what the 750 means to you, you can say that when I actually get this score, I will actually compare to your peers, which are 600 or 490. And yeah, the Tenable score is actually maybe 800 plus. So we could say that we are carrying much more greater risk than compared to our peers and Tenable's average. So that's the data science. So that's the magic that we do from a platform perspective across all the tools that give you the risk rating, both at the organization level and a group segment of the asset together in a way that are meaningful for you. Could be maybe a different group of asset in different locations, different group of business entities, could be a subsidiary in your organization, whatever it could be. We compare it against it to show you what's your cyber exposure score against it, right? So, and finally, so to a kind of review of everything that we talk about, and I know that is a lot, I know. So we branch it down into, yeah. So what we talk about from the platform perspective. So let me introduce our platform. So this is called the Tenable One Exposure Management Platform. So it takes all the different individual point products that you can still buy as individuals. So for example, like here is all of it, right? So you buy as individual as a single point product. So right now we just drop it into one package, and yeah, you can actually get a visibility across different assets in your organizations. So the first part of it is actually on your left, which is inventory of the asset. So we're starting off from the private and IT infrastructures all the way. We talk about couple of accusations. We talk about like the identity piece and the unmanaged thing that we found from the external attack surface management, all the way down back to the regular IT stuff, right? So, and then we take all the detections, we put it into the second portion, which is the analyzing the risk, right? So we utilize the research, our R&D, we aggregate the data, normalize it by using a VPR as an exposure score, contextualize it, right, to show you the cyber exposure, the exposure level across the organization. Then we put it into the next phase, which is the communicate. So how do we actually show you the business insight, the technical compliance, the technical data, right? The last piece is actually, right, so how do we actually optimize the outcome? So we could actually help you to communicate and prioritize what is actually mean to your organization, right? So, and obviously we help you to consolidate all the tools and help you to improve the efficiency. So that is what we actually helping you from a business perspective, the ability to enable you to your business to run better, to enable you to communicate more effectively. And finally, like I say in the bottom line, to reduce the cost and optimize efficiently. So that's what we do from a Tenable One platform perspective, right? So I'm just going to the last two slides. So obviously we work with a lot of technology vendor out there. We're not just like building our own data lake. Obviously, we do actually integrate with a lot of others technology vendors to maximize the ROI, to streamline the operating system, the operations. So for example, like the SIEM, if you're using any PAM solutions, like patch management ticketing system, yes, we could actually integrate with all of them together. And yep, so why Tenable? As I mentioned, a lot of time we are the technology leaders, the creator of Nessus, all the way they're giving you the visibilities to the cloud. And then, yep, our customer commitments is very important. We do have a lot of resources, including from the technical support perspective, which is actually in Singapore, right? So give you the visibilities, give the support, right? And yep, the singular versions across the entire cyber exposure risk perspective, right? So last and not least, so the benefit with Tenable plus Adventus, right? So we actually help you to enhance the operational intelligence with vulnerability insight. How do we do that? So we discuss about the visibility, you run the assessment, you gain the holistic view, right? So across your changing attack surface, and then we actually help you to ensure that all your systems are known and being assessed, right? And we actually help you to improve the remediation decision making with the vulnerability insight. Not just running the scan, but instead, yeah, we actually help you improve your remediation decision making, right? So we do have a white paper. Feel free to actually scan the QR code, right? So yep, with this, I will actually wraps up my presentations, my topic of today, right? So this is a very good white paper. You should actually download it to understand what are the challenges that actually hurting the cybersecurity right now, and how do you actually improve, right, the people process, right? So yep. Thank you very much. And I will actually stop over here and hand over to, yep, Alan.
Alan.
Yep.
So
Hi,
Alan
thank
is
you.
the Senior Manager for Cybersecurity Services here at Adventus. Alan, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Julian. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so Tenable, yeah, is a automated product. You can actually schedule to scan. So why you want to come to Adventus for the services? So there is a few reasons. I think Lauren already spoken of the three reasons. The insights, the remediation decision is very important. I will give you some data later at my end of the slide to tell you why you should actually choose Adventus. Okay, let's go through the slide. So Lloyd had talked about all the theories of vulnerability management. Why do we want to do this? Okay, so because we are giving live cases over here. Importantly, vulnerability scanning and assessment software is not just for infrastructure. There's a wrong conception that a lot of company do pen testing, especially external pen testing. You are only testing your firewall. You are not testing inside. A lot of the vulnerability came from your individual user PC. This is the main issue. Imagine your infrastructure, you only have 2 servers, 1 firewall. You're only testing 3 things, but you have 100 users. These are 100 loopholes that you are not aware of. So what we'll do is we'll have a scan on all your devices, whether do they have any things that is not known, especially shadow IT. What I mean is like shadow IT will means that user do something that is beyond your IT knowledge, your IT department knowledge. For example, installation of WhatsApp and WeChat are not required to have IT administrative rights. Okay, so we'll do a continuous scan to see whether any of these PC have any item that flag out. Okay, so once it's done, we will monitor and give you suggestion and remediation to resolve this. Some customer may actually say that, oh, I have patch management tool to cover this. I'm actually have SCCM to do deployment. But for your knowledge, SCCM won't work if you are working from home. Okay, patch management tool don't cover 20,000 of vulnerability because it's some of the software is impossible to be patched. And another thing is also settings, which Loy have actually highlighted. So settings would be like default password. So Tenable will actually try to check whether would this be affected in particular products. I will give you an example later. Okay, so we'll do a research and recommendation because some of the product cannot be patched. I also have like example later, which affect all Windows 10 and 11. Okay, we'll do monthly reporting to give you updates on what you're standing and where you're scoring in your environment. This will serve as your attack surface, your risk, which the business leader want to know. Okay, so this will be all covered. So not just PC, infrastructure and network is important. There are some items that company don't really think is the issues. Okay, so example, CCTV, door access system. We've seen cases where CCTV product causes a leak into the environment. You can have a lot of solution to protect your network, but you just need one vulnerability, one loophole to enter your network. Your money spent in the security products is all gone to waste. Photocopier also the same. Phones, these are all the IoT, I would say, Internet of Things, which everything is now linked to network for ease of management, for ease of the usage. It become a major concern to the Internet IT department of every companies. Okay, yep. So these are the things which most of the IT department in the past they will have oversight. They won't know, and other things will be some other things will be allowing of BYOD. This is something that you cannot control, but you must allow them to use, especially phones, because you want your salespeople to be able to read their email on the go. So phones that is not up to date. Major concern will be like Android. If you don't know, Android only support 2 versions before. So meaning to say that now is Android 13, 2 to 3. They have stopped the support anything that is before Android 10. So there's no more update for Android 10 and below. So there will be a concern for the Internet IT. Okay. Application, the issues which you may not know is being installed, especially those social media application, WeChat, WhatsApp, Spotify, all these don't require administrative rights to install. Things that is a major concern, especially highlighted inside here, Google Chrome is having a major impact on all the IT environment because you don't need to have I would say you don't need to have if you don't update your Google Chrome, you can actually just serve a malicious website. This will cause your environment to be compromised through Google Chrome. Okay. You may not know, actually Microsoft Edge is part of Google Chrome. They are using both the same engine. So if Chrome have issue, Edge will have issue also. Okay, vulnerability may exist, be discovered in the future. So this allow hackers to attack your IT environment. All these products would be vulnerable. So hackers are incentivized to find vulnerability of the software because they want to hack your environment. Okay. So this one example is very good because this is the National Bank of Bangladesh. Actually, how they actually do it is because they exploited the photocopier vulnerability. If you have done TT before, Telegram transfer to another country, most of the time when you do a transfer, there will be a printout saying that the transfer is successful or unsuccessful. So they actually exploited the photocopier to stop the printout. So the bank actually don't know that there is a transfer ongoing. So they actually transferred and the money went through. Okay, so these are vulnerability that normally, if you do external pen testing, you will not know that there's a vulnerability in a photocopier. So this is a live case, Outlook vulnerability. Last year, Outlook 2016, 2019, even M365 Outlook. If you only buy business standard to use the Outlook and you don't update, the problem with this is Outlook has a vulnerability that enable hackers to send you a maliciously crafted emails. And the email can just be sitting inside your inbox without you opening or reading the emails. They can actually compromise your login account. So we have we saw one case, the user actually received this email. So when the email received into their Outlook, the screen actually froze. So what it does is it looked very genuine. It become the hacker actually crafted the emails to be like, your Windows Defender detected some malicious malware, and please contact Windows support urgently. And they give you a Singapore number. So actually this number is not really Singapore number. It's actually routed to overseas. So the hackers actually ask the users to click on something, run some scripts for the hackers actually to gain access into the PC. Okay, so this is genuine. It has happened for over a year. Many customers is being affected. If you didn't do patch management, you didn't do vulnerability assessment or vulnerability management, external pen testing would not detect this. Okay, so this also involve a certain level of social engineering, because the hackers supposed to be like a window support hotline to help the users on their issues. So these are called social engineering. This is something that is also part of the vulnerability. It's the number 3 vulnerability. This is more toward user issues where they are being guided to do some acts that is allowing the hackers to gain access. Okay? So these are things that we can actually prevent if you have a constant and frequently vulnerability management software running your environment to track all these vulnerability. Okay, network vulnerability, yes, we can also do this. You may not know user have planted a malicious hardware in your environment. Okay, so one good thing about Tenable is we can actually stand out a scan to run the whole network, to run frequently on the whole network to find out hidden equipment that is on inside your network, especially IoT equipment. So this may be bought by some department and nobody actually knows, and it was not handled and not updated. So because IoT, every time you have to update, especially like smart TV. So it become a platform that hackers actually can gain access to and attack your environment. So this become a loophole. Okay, so we can actually do this scan on your network, on your cloud. So this will be very, very important for IT department to take note. We do see some like one case as I highlighted earlier, the CCTV system is always overlooked by internal IT. They thought that CCTV should be safe. Nobody will really go and hack CCTV, but that's not true. We've seen cases that CCTV is actually the backdoor for the hackers to come in. Okay, so once we scan, we found out and we'll let you know. this has the vulnerability, and we will definitely advise you to do an update, and what is the update available in the market, or work around. So then if there's no update, especially CCTV, you have buy over 5 years, it's already end of life. You don't want to invest because you have a lot of CCTV, thousands of them. So the only possibility is to remedy it with alternative like separating out into a virtual LAN, so that you have not direct access into the internet. Okay. So before we go to quiz time, let me share with you some data. Okay, can see, Jun?
Can.
Okay, so I think really highlighted in 2022, there's 25,000 of vulnerability. Hacker, as I say, they are incentivized to find out more vulnerabilities so that they can actually get access to the environment. Last year alone is around 29,000. So in 2024, the security personnel of the world, they actually predict that there will be 25% more, which is crossing 30,000. So imagine your environment, you may not have all the software that is listed over here, all the vulnerabilities here. Just imagine 10% of this exist in your environment. Is close to 3,000 vulnerability in your environment. How are you going to patch all this in a short time frame? So what Adventus will do is we'll prioritize for you and give you remediation. Things that you may not know, as I highlighted earlier, Microsoft Edge, they're using Chromium-based engine, which is Chrome. They have security bypass feature. What we normally see in the market is people like to save password in your Chrome password manager. For your info, password manager by default, the password saved inside is not encrypted. It's clear text, meaning to say that once I gain access to your Chrome, I will be able to see all your password. So we see a lot of password leak is due to people serving a website, malicious website, and get themselves compromised. So what the hacker will do first thing is to download a password manager. Okay. This is recent. If you see the number over here, what we have highlighted CVSS scoring 2024 is very recent. If any one of you using Sony War VPN, there is a RCE. RCE, what it means is remote code execution. They can actually gain access to a SSL VPN portal if you don't update it. They can specially craft it to do cross-site scripting, meaning to say that they can actually gain access without a normal administrator password. They can get access to your website. So no matter how strong your password is, they still can gain access. Other vulnerabilities, these are, you may think that, probably infrastructure only, nothing else. This is paper cut. If any one of you use an online SaaS solution, you think that there's no issue, you are wrong. Because paper cut is a SaaS solution, it allows remote code execution also. So they can actually use this to remotely gain access to your photocopier. CCTV, I highlighted earlier. Any of you using heat vision is very, very common nowadays. If you open out your CCTV for external world, especially bosses who want to know how the working office is today, they always go to CCTV to take a look. You're really in luck, open inverted comma. They can actually get access through your CCTV. So what it means is not just viewing your environment, because most of the CCTV are sitting on the same network as your infrastructure. So by gaining access to a CCTV, they actually can do lateral movement to go to your network to find your servers, especially file servers. They can do ransomware attack. These are the things that cannot be patched. Curl, if you did not know, it comes pre-installed in your Windows 10 and 11 since 2017. It's also remote code execution capability. So what curl does is to you can actually create a website to download something for a website. But hackers also be posting some documentation on how to download some software to using curl to download. So they can craft a malicious website for you to use curl and they gain access to a PC. So these are a concern because a lot of people don't know, and Microsoft is not releasing any patches since 2017. So how are you going to do this? You will flag out in a Tenable scan if you have, but how are you going to remedy this? There's no patches. It's a software. The only way to do this is you have to replace the curl. Okay. So these are things that you have to think of because these are very important vulnerability. And the scoring of the vulnerability of this curl is 9.8, almost close to the highest 10. So how you prioritize all these, if let's say you have 20% of the 20,000 vulnerability, I will prioritize curl as the lowest because not much people will be using curl. Most of you don't even know that curl exists in your Windows system. So I will prioritize other things like Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge because everybody is using. The risk of this is higher than curl. Okay. Yep. So that's all for me. June, you can actually take over.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the interactive quiz portion. Before that, if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A portion, yeah? Let me share my screen first. Okay, I believe you guys can see my screen now. Okay, so basically this is a game for you guys. There are prizes to be won. So please scan the QR code or go to menti.com and then key in this code. While you guys join, I'll share the reward first. If you are first, you get $100 Sing dollars or 4,000 Filipino pesos, 80 Sing dollars or 3,300 pesos if you get the second prize, and third prize you get 50 Sing dollars or $2,000 pesos Grab voucher for all. Yep. For those that have managed to join, right, please take the time to rename yourself as well, so that if let's say you win, okay, how to win is you have to be fast and get the correct answer. So yeah, if let's say you win, then yeah lor, good luck and you get to get the prize. Can okay. Here, this is where you guys can rename yourselves. So I'll give you guys some time to rename yourselves first. Okay, and we will start in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, answer fast to get the points. So which of the following is not an IT vulnerability? Look at your phone and choose the answer that you think is the correct answer. Okay, looks like all votes are in. Okay, let's see. Oh, looks like some people need to rename. Sakura and Earthman. If you guys want to win, you guys need to rename yourselves, yeah. But so far we have Mauro and Enrico. These are some listed names here. Okay, next question. Okay, get ready. I'll move on to the next question now. Okay, which of the following cannot be scanned when scanning for IT vulnerabilities? So choose the answer. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, looks like the majority of you got the right answer. Okay, back to the leaderboard. Wow, okay. So top 3, oh, changed drastically. Okay, so these are the top 3 now. Okay, I'll move on to the next question. Okay, make sure everyone is ready first, and let's go. Same thing, answer fast to get more points. Which of the following Tenable platform provides full visibility into the converged attack surface? Choose one of the 4 options on your phone. Okay. Our majority got right as well. Okay, so back to the leaderboard. See how the scores have changed. Okay, so these 3 are leading right now. Let's go to the next question. Okay, everyone is ready. Okay. Same thing, answer fast to get more points. Which of the following is not risk prioritization score from Tenable? Okay, 5 seconds left to answer. Alright, let's go. Oh, majority got wrong though. This is the correct answer actually. Okay, so leaderboard. I think the scores will change again drastically. Oh wow, okay. Okay, so this is what we have. And final question. I guess you guys are ready now? Okay, same thing, answer fast to get more points. What is included in Adventus managed services? 4 options for you to choose from. Okay. 1, 0. Okay. Wow, okay, yeah, majority of you got it correct. Okay, and here's the final score. Let's see, huh? Wow, okay. Okay, TJF is the winner, followed by Lau Yok Kai and Benjelin. I will contact you guys separately later. I mean via email to tell you guys like on your prizes and share the awards with you lah. Okay, so that's for the quiz. Okay, let me stop sharing. Now we'll move on to Q&A portion. So I do see a few questions in Q&A part. Let me just ask them first. Okay, first question. With Tenable solution, do you still need to do VAPT? Ellen or Louis, you guys can address this.
You
All
want to
right.
say first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me. Yes. You will still need the VAPT. So VAPT is depending how you're actually addressing it. So the full terms of VAPT is actually vulnerability assessment plus penetration testing. So Tenable solution is actually helping you on the VA portions, right? So and the PT portion, I think, yeah. Ellen, maybe you could actually address
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So PT is to more towards getting the probabilities and do actual penetration. So because not, as I mentioned in my presentation just now, not all probability assessment is important because some of them can be mitigated by controls. So the PT is here to test your environment. Is it your control is tight enough? Because there may not be a solution for all vulnerabilities. You have to do remediation through alternative methods like controls. So penetration testing is still needed to test whether your control is it in place.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question, is Tenable solution suitable for both IT and OT environment?
Yes. Brief?
Yes, you're right. So basically, as I mentioned earlier, Tenable One is the platform that basically address all the way from IT to OT, right? So we do have the vulnerability management solution that basically address the IT portion, while we also have the OT securities, right? So yep, to address the OT part. And Tenable One, yep, as a platform perspective view, we actually collect and aggregate all the data of this point of time solutions into the platform to consolidate the data, showing you all the benchmarkings and predictions capabilities of it. Yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay, next question. Assuming I have a hybrid setup, will Tenable be able to support it?
Yes, as well. Yep. So, in Tenable Vulnerability Management, right, we actually utilize two key components to, I would say, collect the vulnerability data. So, if you are in the hybrid setup, right, you just need to deploy the scanner or the agents, right? So, in the cloud or in the on-prem, and all of these scanner will communicate to the brain, which is the management console, either in the cloud or in the on-prem. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Does Tenable solution provide any SCR, source code review, for example, SAST or DAST?
All right. So we don't provide source code review, right? So like what is actually addressed in SAST, we don't do that. So what we do for the web application scanning is actually on the DAST, Dynamic Application Security Testing Tools, to look for the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. Yeah.
Okay, Ashwin, I see your hand being raised. Maybe you can type the question in the Q&A. That'll be easier. Okay, next question. Can you elaborate on how PR, the vulnerability priority ratings, and ACR, asset criticality ratings, are determined using machine learning algorithms?
All right. So I could actually pick this up, right? So this is our, I would say, the secret sauce that we are actually using. And VPR and ACI is actually our own built proprietary machine learning algorithm. So the way we actually calculate the VPR score is actually the first thing, we need to run a credential scan, to collect all the detail of the machines. And then by looking into every single asset and the vulnerabilities findings, right, we will actually, based on the threat aspect, right? So that's mean, for example, like we do have a lot of 160 different data point that different threat intelligence fit that putting into the VPR, and that's how we actually calculate the priority rating scoring, right? That is really means to your organizations, right? So for ACR portion, the same thing. We rely on the credential scan. We look into what kind of software, very important, the software inventory in your organization to identify the crown jewel of the asset criticality. How do we do that? So for example, if the asset is actually contain like maybe database engines, maybe the web application engines. So all this machine is actually internet facing or is actually a web apps. So as compared to a typical like workstation, is actually posting a higher risk. So that's the reason you will always see that the ACR for web application is actually higher than a normal workstations. So yep, so that is how we actually look for the crown jewel. So we look into different three key attributes. Is it internet facing or internal? The second thing is this contain any kind of capabilities, like is it a DNS server, database server? and what is the type of these machines. Is it just a server or firewall, right? Yep. So that's how we do it for VPR and SCR.
Okay, before moving to the next question, I received feedback from my team that we are unable to identify TJF. Can you reach out to us via chat, maybe? Yep. Okay, moving to the next question, yeah. Is Tenable more cost-effective to deploy?
I think this question a bit arbitrary, so it really depends on how you want to term this. Loy, you want to answer?
Yeah, definitely will be more cost effective. If you're asking about cost effective, yes, because as I mentioned earlier, right, so initially before the launch of Tenable One, we used to sell it as an individual, which is a single point of silo products that you use it. So the I would say the bad things that usually happening in our customer, we receive a feedback from them that, oh, are using a web application products, are using a vulnerability management, are using a OT securities, are getting a lot of technical data, but all of this data is not correlated together. So with Tenable One, you actually get this benefit to correlate all of them, and then you basically get the benefit of it. So obviously, yep. So instead of you getting point solutions from different vendor, if you're getting consolidated into Tenable One, you actually get a lot of benefit and effect, cost effective as well. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Is there an MOQ for this solution? Because this company is a SMB or SME.
Yep, I can actually answer that. Yes, for Tenable Vulnerability Management, right? So the minimum is actually 100 of asset, 100 of machines that you would like to perform the vulnerability assessment. Yes.
I think I just add on 100. I think it's 100 IP.
Yep.
So you can so one company you may have 30, 40 end user devices. Then after that, you may want to add in your website, your firewall, your network equipment, your especially your CCTV. Do you know that your CCTV is vulnerable? Yeah. I think it's cost effective in that sense. It's run across 1 year.
Okay, next question. How is the license scheme for Tenable like? Also, how does Adventus charge? We have 40 officers.
I think just how Loy actually answers, there's a minimum MOQ. It doesn't matter the officers, number of officers. So it really depends on how big you want to scan, number of device that you have, or infrastructure that you have for us to scan, including website also.
Okay, next question. Does your VA or PT solutions cover API, application programming interface penetration tests?
I would say portion of it, not 100%. So what we do is actually looking into the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities in your API, right? But not into your API code level. Yeah, the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Also to add on, the purpose of doing PT is you want to find the actual final result, whether can be the hacker actually go into your environment. So yeah, almost will give you all the vulnerability. But if you have good control, because some of them you cannot remedy because out of production issue, you may not be able to remedy immediately, or versioning issue from your programmers. So what you can do is you have good control, you can actually stop it. So PT also there to check on your security control.
Okay, next question. Does Tenable provide recommendations on how to mitigate the risks?
Yes, we do. So, yeah, we actually do provide the solutions. That's been the remediation guidance and advice, including some source reference from the vendors, right? So when you actually look into, for example, the security updates, and what is that? You can actually click into the link. You actually redirect you to the reference from the vendors, right? That's tell you that what is the vulnerability about and why do you need to actually update it. Yeah.
Okay, what is the Tenable take-up rate in Singapore?
This one for Ray to answer.
I could actually answer it, right? So I would say majority of the bank, the FSI, yeah, is actually yeah, part of Tenables, and a lot of others, different segments are also using us, including right now transportations, yeah, company are all actually onboarding to Tenables, yeah.
Okay. As I am on Microsoft platform, I do understand that they also provide for vulnerability management. How is that compared to Tenable solution?
I think I can answer this because we are having this question. It's a very good question. A lot of people is asking us. Okay, so Tenable has primed themselves having 20% more coverage on the CVE on the market. So that is one win. Second thing is Microsoft Defender is a very, very new product for their vulnerability management. They have some lacking. So this vulnerability management on Microsoft, they only cover a certain limited big brands of the network equipment in the market. You can't do your website scanning if you have a website that you want to know whether is there any vulnerability. You can't do that. So these are some lacking in Microsoft Defenders itself.
Okay, next question. Where is the cloud hosted for Tenable, as I am a FI company?
So for Southeast Asia, we actually yep, we hosted we using AWS as our backend cloud hosted provider. So for Southeast Asia, we hosted in Singapore. Yep.
Okay. Does Adventus provide for MSSP model to support, assuming I do not have the expertise to manage the solution?
Yeah, that's where our services come in. So we will actually manage on your behalf and give you remediation on how to remedy your issues if being found.
Okay. Are we able to share sample reports?
Offline, we can send them a sample report.
Okay. Any further questions? Or maybe I have one here. Um, are you able to share the steps required to remediate the vulnerabilities found?
This really depends on vulnerability. Like the one that I've shared for Curl, that one has no patch management. Microsoft is not releasing. So we will actually based on environment to give you ideas and steps on how you can actually update your Curl.
Can we do the monitoring by ourselves instead of you?
Yeah, sure. You can do that.
Okay. Then I think no further questions. Anyone else have any other questions?
I just want to give a heads up. There's a feedback form after this. Advantage, we are actually there's one question over there. Whether do you want to know more in depth of your attack surface? Actually, what we'll do is we'll do a surface scan of your environment. What normally external pen tester, external pen testing will do. So we'll give you a heads up of what you have on the public. And also we'll do a deep scan. What it does is we'll find out based on the domain. So please contact our sales. You'll be assigned an enterprise account manager to use. So talk to our sales, give us your domain address, domain as in like adventus.com. We'll do a scan whether are you having any credential leak on the dark web. So it's free. So look for our enterprise account manager and fill out the feedback form for us to contact you.
So I'll move on to the next slide so that you guys know what Ellen is talking about. Yeah, this feedback form. So you guys just scan the QR code, then there's a question, as Ellen mentioned. If let's say you want us to do a scan, then just let us know. We can get back to you on that. Okay, one more question. I think last one for today. Vulnerability versus dark web monitoring, which one should come first? Ellen, you are muted. Or Louis as
Okay,
well.
So it's two different things. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that your credential appear in dark web. You are being highly susceptible to attack. And same thing. It doesn't mean that you have vulnerability. It won't. And it doesn't appear in dark web. No hackers will hack you. So it's two separate things. So you may have vulnerability. Hackers is working on it. So what does dark web mean? Dark web is actually a place where hackers share their info. So if let's say there's an IT hacker that is targeting your company, they may do it secretly because they don't want to post it on dark web. So normally dark web comes in as a two things. They want to share that they have actually entered your environment, and they are reaching out to you because they already planted ransomware on your environment. Second thing is some hackers actually they actually gain access to the environment, but they don't want to contravene the laws, so they sell a credential to another hackers group. So they actually posted out as a bidding on a bidding forum for hackers to bid to get a credential to come into the environment. Okay, so it doesn't mean if you don't exist in that web, you are safe.
Okay, so that's all the questions that we can receive for today. It's 12 o'clock already. I'll proceed to conclude this webinar. A big round of applause and thank you for Alan from Adventus and Louis from Tenable, and also thank every one of you for joining us today. So I'll go back to the feedback form first for those who haven't filled up. Then after this webinar, if you guys have any further questions or any further requirements, our account managers for your respective companies, they will actually touch base with you. You can also reach out to them as well. So after this, we will actually drop you an email with their information also. So if, let's say, you have any further questions, any further requirements, feel free to let us know. Don't need to be shy. Yep. Okay. So yeah, don't forget to fill out the feedback form. Scan, fill up. Feedback form. Yep. Those of you who wants to leave, you can leave already. I will be ending this webinar shortly. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.